Liam Parker lay in his bed, staring at the ceiling of his childhood bedroom. At 22, he felt strange to be back home after finishing college. The glow-in-the-dark stars he had stuck up there when he was 10 still shined dimly above him. Outside, the summer night was warm and quiet. Only the sounds of crickets and the occasional car passing by broke the silence. His father, Dr. Nathan Parker, worked at a big aerospace research facility outside of town. Nathan never talked much about his work. All Liam knew was that it was classified and important for the future. Tonight, his dad had come home late again, looking worried and tired. He had gone straight to his study and locked the door. Liam had heard him talking on the phone in a hushed, urgent voice. Liam checked his phone. It was almost midnight. He should sleep, but his mind kept racing with thoughts about job applications and his uncertain future. He closed his eyes and tried to relax. The clock on his nightstand showed 3:17 a.m. when a soft tapping sound woke him. At first, he thought it was a branch hitting his window. Then he heard it again, more deliberate this time. Liam sat up, rubbing his eyes. When he looked toward the window, his heart nearly stopped. A figure stood there, outlined by moonlight. It was clearly a woman, but something about her seemed different. Liam fumbled for his bedside lamp and switched it on. The light revealed a slender woman with pale skin that seemed to shimmer with a faint blue glow. Delicate patterns covered her skin, pulsing gently with light. Her eyes were large and almond-shaped, a deep purple color that no human could have. Her hair fell in silver waves around her shoulders. She wore a close-fitting suit made of a material Liam had never seen before. "Please don't be afraid," she said. Her voice had a musical quality to it, like chimes in a soft breeze. "Your father sent me to find you." Liam's mouth felt dry. He blinked several times, wondering if he was dreaming. "Who are you? How did you get up here?" "My room is on the second floor." The woman moved away from the window with a grace that seemed almost like floating. "My name is Alara. I am the daughter of Zoran. Your father and my father have worked together for many years." "Worked together?" "I don't understand." Liam swung his legs over the side of the bed but kept his distance from the strange visitor. "Your father is in danger," Alara said. "He told me that if anything happened to him, I should come to you." "He said you would help me." Liam stood up slowly. "Where is my dad? Is he okay?" "I don't know." Worry crossed Alara's unusual face. 3 days ago, both our fathers disappeared. They were working on something important. Something that could change both our worlds, Liam repeated. The reality of what he was seeing finally hit him. You're not human, are you?" Alara shook her head. "I come from a star system you call Lyra. My people have been in contact with select humans for over 50 years. Your father is one of our most trusted allies." Liam sank back onto his bed. His father, the quiet aerospace engineer, had been working with aliens. Real aliens. And now one was standing in his bedroom at 3 a.m. "This is a lot to take in," he said weakly. "I understand your shock," Alara said, "but we don't have much time. Your father left something important here. Something that could help us find him and stop a terrible weapon from being used." "A weapon? What kind of weapon?" "One that uses technology from my world but twisted for destruction. If it's activated, it could tear apart the very fabric of space around your planet." Liam ran a hand through his hair, trying to process everything. "And my dad was working on this weapon?" "No," Alara said firmly. "He was trying to stop it. Both our fathers were. That's why they're missing now. The people behind this project took them." "People? What people?" "A group within your government, working with a faction from my world. They want the power this weapon would give them, no matter the risk." Liam stood up again, determination replacing his shock. If his father was in danger, he had to help. "What did my dad leave here?" "What are we looking for?" "He said you would know how to access his private files." "Files that are locked with something only a Parker could open." Liam thought for a moment. "His computer in the study. It has a fingerprint scanner, but it's keyed to recognize our family DNA pattern. He showed me once, said it was more secure than regular biometrics." "Then we need to access that computer," Alara said. She moved toward the door, then stopped and looked back at him. "There's something else you should know, Liam. Once you help me, your life will never be the same. You'll be in danger too." Liam took a deep breath. "He's my dad. I have to help him." Alara nodded, her luminescent patterns glowing a bit brighter. "Thank you." As they crept down the hallway toward his father's study, Liam's mind raced. In just 5 minutes, everything he thought he knew about his life, his father, and even the universe had changed. His dad wasn't just an aerospace engineer. He was some kind of secret contact with an alien civilization. The study door was locked, but Liam knew where the spare key was hidden. As they entered, he saw his father's desk was unusually tidy, as if Nathan had cleaned up before leaving. The computer sat in the center, its screen dark. "I'll need to turn this on," Liam whispered, though he wasn't sure why he was whispering in his own empty house. Ilara stood by the window looking out at the night sky. "Your moon is beautiful from this view. We have 3 moons, but none so large compared to our planet." Liam sat at the desk and pressed the power button on the computer. As it hummed to life, he placed his thumb on the small scanner beside the keyboard. The screen flashed, then displayed a desktop with very few icons. "It worked," he said. "I'm in." Ilara came to stand beside him, her strange scent reminding him of thunderstorms and something sweet he couldn't identify. "Look for anything about Project Stormbreaker or Symmetry Drive technology." Liam searched through folders until he found one labeled simply Zed. Inside were hundreds of encrypted files, most with dates as names. "This might be it. Say for Zoran, maybe?" "Yes," Ilara said, leaning closer to the screen. "Those are the file formats we use for shared research." As Liam opened the most recent file, a video began to play. It showed his father, looking tired and afraid, speaking directly to the camera. "Liam, if you're watching this, then things have gone wrong. Ilara will have found you. Trust her. The work Zoran and I have been doing has been compromised. The symmetry drive was never meant to be weaponized, but someone has found a way. We're going to try to stop it, but if we fail, you're our backup plan. Everything you need to know is in these files. Be careful, son. I love you." The video ended. Liam sat back in the chair, his heart pounding. On the screen, more files waited to be opened. Files that would reveal secrets his father had kept hidden for years. Files that might help them save both their worlds. Ilara placed a gentle hand on his shoulder. Her touch sent a strange, tingling warmth through him. "Are you ready to see what your father was really working on?" Liam nodded. There was no turning back now. The early morning light was just beginning to shine through the windows of Dr. Parker's study. Liam had spent hours going through his father's files with Ilara by his side. His eyes burned from staring at the screen, but what he learned made sleep impossible. "So my dad and your dad created this symmetry drive?" Liam asked, rubbing his tired eyes. Ilara nodded. Her skin's glow had dimmed slightly, as if she too was growing tired. "Yes, it allows our ships to fold space. We can travel great distances in very little time. It was meant to help both our worlds. Your people would gain the stars. My people would gain new friends and allies." Liam clicked through more files. "But these people want to use it as a weapon instead." "Yes. They found that if the drive is modified in a certain way, it can create a tear in space. The test they did destroyed a small moon in your Jupiter's orbit. No one on Earth noticed because it was made to look like a meteor impact." Liam sat back in his father's chair. "This is insane. We need help. I can't do this alone." "Who can we trust?" Ilara asked. "Your father said we should be very careful." Liam thought for a moment. Meg Sullivan. We grew up together. She works in cybersecurity now. She's brilliant with computers, much better than me, and I trust her completely." Ilara seemed unsure. "Another person means more risk." "We need her," Liam insisted. "Some of these files are beyond my skills to decrypt, and we'll need help finding where they're keeping my dad and yours." After some discussion, Liam called Meg. He was vague about why he needed her, saying only that it was an emergency involving his father. Meg agreed to come right away. While they waited, Liam found more information in the files. It says here they're moving something called Stormbreaker tonight to a facility in the desert. Stormbreaker must be the prototype warship, Ilara said, looking over his shoulder, the one with the modified drive. If they complete it and test the weapon system, she didn't need to finish. The files contained simulations of what could happen, a tear in space that could grow, potentially consuming large parts of Earth's solar system. The doorbell rang an hour later. Liam went to answer it, leaving Ilara in the study. He opened the front door to find Meg standing there, her curly red hair pulled back in a ponytail. She wore jeans and a t-shirt that said, "I'm not antisocial, I'm anti-stupid." This better be good, Parker, she said, walking past him into the house. I was in the middle of a weekend gaming marathon. It's better than good, Liam said, closing the door. It's unbelievable, and I need you to keep an open mind. When have I ever not had an open mind? Meg asked. Liam led her to the study. When she saw Alara, she stopped in her tracks. Her eyes widened and her mouth fell open. Meg, this is Alara, Liam said. She's, not from around here. No kidding, Meg whispered. She took a step forward, then back again. Those markings on your skin are actually glowing. And your eyes. Are you wearing contacts? I do not know what contacts are, Alara said. My eyes are naturally this color. Meg looked at Liam. Is this some kind of joke? Special effects makeup or something? It's not a joke, Liam said. She's real. She's from another planet, and my dad has been working with her people for years. Now he's missing, and we need your help. For a moment, Liam thought Meg might laugh or run away. Instead, she took a deep breath and walked closer to Alara. Can I? She asked, raising a hand toward Alara's arm. Alara nodded. Meg gently touched one of the glowing patterns on Alara's skin. It's warm, and I can feel a slight vibration. Her scientific curiosity was taking over. Some kind of bioluminescence? Is it tied to your nervous system? Yes, Alara said. The patterns reflect our emotional and physical state. They also help us communicate with our technology. Meg turned to Liam, her eyes now bright with excitement. Show me everything. For the next few hours, they went through the files together. Meg's computer skills proved invaluable. She broke through encryption that had stumped Liam and found hidden data that revealed more details about the Stormbreaker project. Look at this, she said, pointing to a map she'd uncovered. This is the facility where they're taking the ship. It's not on any official records. It's hidden in the desert, but these coordinates are clear. Can you find out if our fathers are being held there? Alara asked. Meg typed rapidly, breaking into secure databases that Liam didn't even know existed. I'm accessing security camera feeds. Personnel records. There. Dr. Parker is listed as being on site. And there's another name I don't recognize, Zoran. Is that your father? Alara moved closer to the screen. Yes, they're both there. We have to go to this place. It's not that simple, Meg said. This is a high-security government black site. We can't just walk in. I have my ship, Alara said. Liam and Meg both stared at her. Your ship? Meg repeated. As in spaceship? You have a spaceship? Yes, it's small, just a scout vessel. I landed it in the woods behind your house last night. Liam shook his head in disbelief. You have a spaceship in the woods behind my house. Of course you do. It has cloaking technology, Alara explained. No one can see it unless I want them to. Meg was already on her feet. I want to see it. Right now. They were about to head outside when Liam noticed something on one of the security camera feeds Meg had accessed. Wait, look at that. The screen showed several black SUVs turning onto his street. They found us, Alara said, her skin patterns flashing with alarm. We need to leave now. How did they find us so quickly? Liam asked, grabbing his backpack and stuffing it with his laptop and some of his father's paper files. They must have been monitoring your father's computer, Meg said, already collecting her things. As soon as you logged in, it probably triggered an alert. They rushed out of the study and toward the back door. Through the front windows, Liam could see the black SUVs stopping in front of his house. This way, he said, leading them through the kitchen and out the back door. They ran across the backyard toward the woods just as they heard the front door of the house being broken down. Hurry, Alara called, running ahead of them into the trees. Her skin was now glowing brightly, creating an eerie light in the shadowy woods. They ran for about 5 minutes, going deeper into the forest. Finally, Alara stopped in a small clearing. There was nothing there, just grass, trees, and early morning sunlight filtering through the leaves. Where's the ship? Meg asked, looking around. Alara raised her hand. The patterns on her skin glowed intensely, and suddenly, the air in front of them seemed to shimmer and bend. A ship appeared as if out of nowhere. It was sleek and oval-shaped, with no visible windows or doors, its surface a smooth, metallic blue that seemed to shift colors in the sunlight. Whoa, Meg whispered. Alara placed her hand on the ship's surface, and a section of it simply vanished, creating an opening. Get in, quickly! They climbed inside. The interior was small but comfortable, with 3 seat-like structures that molded themselves to fit their bodies as they sat down. There were no visible controls, just smooth surfaces that glowed with the same kind of patterns that adorned Alara's skin. "How do you fly this thing?" Liam asked. "With my mind," Alara said, placing her palms on two glowing sections of the wall. "It's a neural interface. The ship responds to my thoughts, from outside." They heard voices and the sound of people crashing through the underbrush. "They're coming," Meg said, looking nervously at the still-open doorway. "Hold on," Alara warned. The ship hummed to life around them. The opening sealed itself and the interior lit up with a soft blue glow. Liam felt a strange sensation, like a gentle pressure all around his body. Then, with no feeling of movement at all, the ship rose silently into the air. Through a suddenly appearing view screen, they could see people in black suits rushing into the clearing below. Looking up at them, one woman with short blonde hair was speaking into a radio, her face hard with anger. "That's Agent Catherine Holt," Alara said. "She leads the human side of the Stormbreaker project. She's very dangerous." The ship accelerated, moving smoothly through the air. The trees and then Liam's neighborhood fell away beneath them. In moments, they were high above the city, climbing into the early morning sky. "We're actually flying," Meg said, her voice filled with wonder, "in an alien spaceship. This is the coolest thing that has ever happened to me." Despite the danger, Liam had to agree. But his thoughts quickly returned to his father. "Can this ship get us to that desert facility?" he asked. "Yes," Alara said. Her hands moved over the glowing panels. "I'm setting a course now." The ship banked smoothly to the west. On the view screen, they could see the sun rising behind them, casting long shadows across the land below. "What's the plan when we get there?" Meg asked. "We can't just fly in and ask them to release your dads." "The ship has weapons," Alara said. "But I don't want to hurt anyone unless absolutely necessary." "There must be another way," Liam said. "Let's look at those facility maps again. Maybe we can find a way in that doesn't involve shooting our way through." As the ship sped toward the desert, they began to plan their rescue mission, but none of them noticed the small tracking device that Agent Holt had managed to attach to the ship's hull. A device specifically designed to detect and follow the energy signature of Lyran technology. Ilara's ship flew smoothly over mountains and forests, heading toward the desert facility. Inside, Liam and Meg were looking at the facility maps they had downloaded from Dr. Parker's computer. "The security is intense," Meg said, pointing to the screen of Liam's laptop. 3 layers of fences, guard towers, motion sensors, and that's just what we can see. The real problem will be getting inside the main building," Liam added. "That's where they're likely keeping our fathers." Alara's hands moved over the ship's control surfaces. "I'm detecting multiple aircraft taking off from various military bases. They appear to be converging on our position. They're tracking us somehow," Meg said. She looked at the screen showing the outside of the ship. "But how? I thought you said this ship has cloaking technology." "It does," Alara replied. Her skin patterns were pulsing rapidly now, showing her concern. "They must have found a way to detect the energy signature from our symmetry drive. It gives off a unique resonance that your technology shouldn't be able to detect unless they've been studying your technology," Liam finished for her, "which is exactly what they've been doing with the Stormbreaker project." The ship's interior suddenly flashed red. A warning sound like musical chimes but with a disturbing undertone filled the cabin. "Missile lock," Alara said calmly, though her glowing skin betrayed her anxiety. "Brace yourselves." The ship suddenly dropped altitude, then banked hard to the right. Liam and Meg were pressed into their seats as Alara maneuvered to avoid the incoming missiles. "Can this thing go any faster?" Meg asked, gripping the edges of her seat. "Yes, but not in atmosphere," Alara explained as she continued evasive maneuvers. "The friction would cause problems for your planet's atmosphere and might damage the ship." Another warning chime sounded. On the view screen, they could see 3 sleek fighter jets closing in on their position. "I'm going to try something," Alara said. "It's risky, but it might throw them off our trail temporarily." The ship suddenly climbed straight up, accelerating so quickly that Liam felt like he was being pushed through his seat. The blue sky outside grew darker as they rose higher and higher. "What are you doing?" Liam asked. "A brief space hop," Alara replied. "We'll exit your atmosphere, make a small spacefold jump, and re-enter over our destination. It should confuse their tracking systems." "Wait, we're going to space?" Meg's eyes were wide. "Like actual outer space?" "Just the edge of it," Alara said. "Don't worry, the ship will protect us." The sky outside turned from blue to deep purple and finally to black dotted with stars. Liam and Meg gasped at the sight of Earth curving below them, a blue and white jewel against the darkness. "It's beautiful," Liam whispered. "Yes," Alara agreed. "Your world is very beautiful from space. Prepare for the jump." The stars outside seemed to stretch, then blur. There was a moment of disorientation where Liam felt like his body was being pulled in all directions at once. Then everything snapped back to normal, and they were looking at a different view of Earth. "Re-entering atmosphere now," Alara announced. The ship began to descend, a gentle glow forming around its hull as it pushed through the upper layers of air. "Did it work?" Meg asked. "Did we lose them?" Alara checked her displays. "For now, yes. But they'll figure out where we are soon enough. We need to reach the facility quickly." The desert landscape came into view below them, a vast expanse of sand and rock with mountains in the distance. And there, nestled in a valley, was their destination, a sprawling complex of buildings surrounded by fences and security measures. "There it is," Liam said. "The Stormbreaker facility." As they got closer, they could see more details. The central building was massive, with a dome-shaped roof that could open to the sky. Around it were smaller structures, barracks, research labs, power stations. The whole complex buzzed with activity, with vehicles and people moving between buildings. "I'm detecting a very powerful energy signature," Alara said, her voice tight with concern. "It's Lyran technology, but wrong somehow. Distorted. That must be the Stormbreaker." "Where should we land?" Liam asked, scanning the facility for options. "Not too close," Meg advised. "We need to approach carefully." Alara guided the ship to a rocky outcropping about a mile from the facility. The ship settled gently onto the rocks, its cloaking technology re-engaging to hide it from view. "We'll need to go the rest of the way on foot," she said. "I can maintain the ship's cloak from a distance, but we'll need to stay within about 5 miles for me to recall it if we need a quick escape." They gathered what supplies they had. Liam's backpack with his laptop and his father's files, Meg's phone and a small toolkit she always carried, and a few devices Alara took from compartments in the ship. "What are those?" Liam asked, pointing to the small disc-shaped objects Alara was placing in a pouch at her waist. "Communication devices, scanners, and a few defensive tools," she explained. "Nothing that will cause permanent harm, but they might help us if we get into trouble." As they exited the ship, the hot desert air hit them like a wall. The sun was high now, beating down on the rocky landscape. "It's going to be a hot walk," Meg said, shielding her eyes from the glare. "Stay close to the rocks as much as possible," Liam suggested. "It will give us some cover and shade." They began making their way toward the facility, keeping low and moving carefully from one rocky outcropping to another. The heat was intense, and soon all three of them were sweating heavily. "I'm not built for this climate," Alara admitted. Her skin's glow had dimmed significantly, and the patterns were pulsing slowly. "My people come from a much cooler world. Are you going to be okay?" Liam asked, concerned by how pale she looked. "I'll manage," she said. "We need to keep moving." They continued their trek, pausing occasionally to drink from the water bottles they'd brought and to check their position. As they got closer to the facility, they could see the security measures more clearly. Cameras on tall poles, guards patrolling the perimeter, and what looked like automated gun turrets at regular intervals along the fence. "This isn't going to be easy," Meg muttered as they crouched behind a large boulder about a quarter-mile from the outer fence. "How are we supposed to get past all that?" Liam was studying the facility through a pair of small binoculars he'd found in his backpack. "Look there," he said, pointing to the eastern side of the complex. "See that drainage pipe? It might lead under the fence." Alara took the binoculars and looked where he was pointing. "Yes, I see it. But it will be heavily monitored." "Maybe not," Meg said. She had been tapping on her phone. "I managed to access some of their security systems through a back door I found in their network. The drainage system isn't on the main security grid. It's on a separate environmental monitoring system." "Can you disable it?" Liam asked. Meg grinned. "Already working on it. Give me a few minutes." While Meg worked on her phone, Liam and Alara continued to observe the facility. "There," Alara said suddenly, pointing to a large hangar-like structure near the center. "That's where they're keeping the Stormbreaker. I can feel the drive's energy from here." Liam looked where she was pointing. The building was enormous, with massive doors that could open to allow something very large to exit. It must be bigger than I imagined. It is, Ilara said grimly. Much bigger than any ship my people would build with this technology. The energy requirements alone are staggering. Got it, Meg announced triumphantly. The drainage system monitors are now in a testing cycle. They'll show normal readings for the next hour, no matter what actually happens in those pipes. Great work, Liam said. Now we just need to get to that pipe without being seen. They waited until a patrol had passed, then moved quickly from their hiding place, staying low and using the uneven terrain for cover. The drainage pipe was larger than it had looked from a distance, about 4 feet in diameter, more than enough room for them to crawl through. Ladies first? Meg said with a nervous laugh. I'll go, Liam volunteered. I'll check if it's safe. He crawled into the pipe, which was dry but smelled musty. It was dark inside, but enough light filtered in from the entrance for him to see. The pipe extended straight for about 50 yards, then bent to the right. It seems clear, he called back softly. Come on in. Meg followed, then Ilara. They crawled through the pipe in silence, the only sound their hands and knees against the metal surface. When they reached the bend, they could see light coming from another opening ahead. That must be inside the perimeter, Liam whispered. They continued forward until they reached the end of the pipe. It opened into a concrete drainage basin inside the facility grounds. They were between the outer and middle security fences in a maintenance area that was currently unoccupied. Now what? Meg asked as they climbed out of the pipe. We need to find a way into the main building, Ilara said. She took one of her devices from her pouch and held it up. It made a soft humming sound and displayed symbols that neither Liam nor Meg could read. I'm detecting my father's biosignature. He's in the central building, 2 levels below ground. Is my dad with him? Liam asked. Ilara adjusted the device. Yes, they're both in the same area. Some kind of detention level. A loud alarm suddenly blared across the facility. Red lights began flashing on the security towers. They ran through shaking corridors as alarm sirens blared around them. Agent Holt led the way, her previous hostility temporarily set aside in the face of a greater danger. Behind her came Dr. Parker and Zoran with Liam, Ilara, and Meg bringing up the rear. The control center is just ahead, Holt called over her shoulder as they rounded a corner. Through a large window in the hallway, they could see outside. The enormous hangar doors were slowly opening, revealing what lay within. Liam stopped in his tracks, staring in awe. The Stormbreaker was massive, a gleaming black ship that seemed to absorb the light around it. Its hull was covered in angular patterns similar to the markings on Ilara's skin, but they glowed with an angry red light instead of her gentle blue. The ship's shape reminded Liam of a predatory bird with swept-back wings and a sharp-pointed nose. It's huge, he whispered. Much bigger than your scout ship. Too big, Ilara said, her voice tight with worry. The symmetry drive was never meant to power something of that size. Another explosion rocked the building. Through the window, they could see the Lyran ships engaging with the facility's defense systems. Beams of energy crisscrossed the sky and smoke rose from several damaged buildings. Your people are attacking us, Holt accused Zoran. No, he replied calmly. They are trying to disable your weapons, not destroy them. If they wanted to attack, this facility would already be gone. They reached a set of heavy metal doors marked Primary Control. Holt pressed her palm to a scanner, and the doors slid open. Inside was a large room filled with screens, control panels, and about a dozen technicians working frantically at their stations. A huge view screen on the far wall showed the Stormbreaker from multiple angles. Status displays indicated that its systems were powering up. Dr. West, Holt called out. A woman with short gray hair looked up from a central console. Her eyes widened when she saw the group. Agent Holt, what's going on? Why are the prisoners here? She looked particularly shocked to see Zoran. The launch sequence has started, Holt explained. They say it could be dangerous. Dr. Olivia West frowned. Of course it's dangerous. It's a weapon system. But all safety protocols are in place. Dr. Parker stepped forward. Olivia, listen to me. The drive configuration is fundamentally flawed. The test we ran last month wasn't just a successful weapons test. It created a micro-rift in space-time that's still growing. What are you talking about? Dr. West asked. The Jupiter Moon test was a complete success. The target was destroyed as planned. Zoran moved to a nearby console and began typing rapidly. Look at these readings, he said. The energy signature from the test site. It hasn't dissipated, it's increasing. Dr. West came over to look at the screen. Her confident expression faltered. That can't be right. It is right, Ilara said. The modified drive creates a tear in the fabric of space, a tear that will continue to grow until it consumes everything around it. Dr. West turned to Holt. I wasn't informed of these readings. Neither was I, Holt admitted. Her face grim. Who authorized the launch? Dr. Parker asked. One of the technicians spoke up. It was automatic, sir. When the alien ships were detected in our airspace, the defense protocols activated. Can you shut it down? Liam asked. Dr. West turned back to her console. I'm trying, but the system is locked. It's rejecting all override commands. On the main screen, they could see that the Stormbreaker was now fully visible as the hangar doors completed their opening cycle. The ship's engines were glowing, preparing for liftoff. There must be a way, Meg said. She pushed past the technicians to reach a control station. Let me try. Nobody stopped her as she began typing furiously. Liam watched as complex code scrolled across her screen. The primary systems are locked, she announced after a minute, but I might be able to access the subsystems. If we can't shut it down completely, maybe we can disable the drive without affecting the rest of the ship. That might work, Dr. Parker said. Zoran and I designed failsafes into the original drive technology. The weapon systems have those same failsafes, Dr. West added. At least they were supposed to. Zoran joined Meg at the console. Show me what you've found. As they worked, Liam stood with Ilara near the window watching the Stormbreaker. Its engines were getting brighter, and the ship seemed to be vibrating slightly, preparing to rise. What happens if they can't stop it? He asked quietly. Ilara's skin patterns were pulsing rapidly, showing her anxiety. If the ship launches and the drive activates at full power, it will create a rift large enough to potentially consume your planet, and eventually your entire solar system. Could your people stop it once it's airborne? They would try, she said. But once the drive is fully engaged, even destroying the ship might not close the rift it creates. Suddenly, the entire facility shook with the most violent tremor yet. The lights flickered and went out. Then emergency lighting came on, bathing everything in a red glow. What was that? Holt demanded. One of the technicians checked his monitors. The Stormbreaker's drive is powering up faster than expected. It's creating gravitational distortions. We're out of time, Dr. Parker said urgently. Meg, have you found a way in? Almost, she replied, still typing. Just need to bypass one more. Got it. I'm in the environmental control subsystem. Perfect, Zoran said. If we can trigger an emergency coolant flood in the drive chamber, it might force a shutdown. They worked together, their fingers flying over the keys. Liam held his breath, watching as the Stormbreaker on the screen began to rise slowly from its cradle. Hurry, Holt urged. Done, Meg announced triumphantly. Initiating emergency coolant procedure now. On the screen, they could see a white mist beginning to pour into the drive chamber of the rising ship. For a moment, nothing seemed to happen. Then the ship wobbled in the air and slowly settled back down. It's working, Dr. West said, checking her readings. The drive is cooling. Power levels are dropping. A collective sigh of relief went through the control room, but it was short-lived. Wait, one of the technicians called out. I'm getting strange readings from the drive core. The energy isn't dissipating normally. Dr. Parker rushed to look at the readings. The coolant is containing the energy, but it's not shutting down the reaction. It's building up inside the containment field. If the containment field fails, Zoran began, the release of energy would be catastrophic. Dr. West finished for him. Possibly worse than if the drive had activated normally. So we've just traded one disaster for another, Holt said bitterly. Ilara stepped forward. There might be another way. She turned to her father. The dampening field generators. If we could place them around the drive core, Zoran nodded slowly. It could work. A controlled implosion instead of a catastrophic explosion. What are you talking about? Holt asked. Technology from our world, Zoran explained. Devices that can cancel out the energy from the symmetry drive, cause it to fold in on itself instead of tearing outward. Where are these devices? Dr. West asked. On my ship, Ilara said. I brought 4 of them in case we needed to disable a smaller version of the drive. Would they work on something this big? Liam asked. Zoran considered. Perhaps if placed at the key nodes around the core. But someone would need to place them manually. The ship's automated defenses would shoot down any drones or remote devices. I'll go, Alara said immediately. No, Zoran protested. It's too dangerous. I've studied the drive design in Father's files, she insisted. I know where the nodes are, and I can interface with the ship's systems to temporarily bypass the internal defenses. You can't go alone, Liam said. He surprised himself with the words, but as soon as he said them, he knew they were true. I'll go with you. Liam, no, Dr. Parker grabbed his son's arm. It's too risky. Dad, I have to. Liam looked his father in the eye. This is our world we're talking about. And I've seen the ship schematics too. Between the two of us, we can place the devices faster. A tense silence fell over the room. On the screens, the Stormbreaker sat ominously in its cradle, surrounded by coolant mist, its drive core energy readings climbing steadily toward critical levels. Time is running out, Dr. West said softly. If you're going to do this, you need to go now. After a moment, Dr. Parker nodded reluctantly. You'll need environment suits. The coolant is toxic to humans. And you'll need this. Zoran handed Alara a small device. It will help you interface with the ship's systems more efficiently. Holt had been listening to this exchange with growing impatience. This is all very touching, but we're talking about sending civilians into a highly classified military prototype. Do you have a better idea, Agent? Dr. Parker asked sharply. She glared at him, then sighed. Fine, but I'm coming with you. I know the ship's layout better than any of you. I'll monitor from here, Meg said. I can guide you through any security systems I can access. Within minutes, Liam and Holt were dressed in protective environment suits, while Alara's natural biology protected her from the coolant. Zoran gave Alara a small case containing the 4 dampening field generators, sleek, disc-shaped devices with the same glowing patterns as her skin. Place them at the 4 cardinal points around the drive core, he instructed. Once they're all in place, activate them simultaneously. The field will collapse the drive energy inward, canceling itself out. 1 month had passed since the events at the desert facility. The world had changed in ways that few could have imagined. The existence of the Lyran people was now public knowledge, though the full details of the Stormbreaker incident remained classified. Liam sat on the back porch of his father's house, watching the sunset. The warm evening air carried the scent of his father's rose garden. Everything looked so normal, so ordinary, yet nothing was the same. Mind if I join you? Dr. Parker asked, stepping out onto the porch with 2 glasses of lemonade. Sure, Dad. Liam took one of the glasses. How was the meeting today? Dr. Parker sat down with a tired sigh. Productive. The joint research team is making good progress on adapting the symmetry drive for safe transport applications. No weapons, just as it was always meant to be. After the Stormbreaker incident, Dr. Parker had been appointed to lead a new international organization dedicated to peaceful cooperation with the Lyrans. Zoran served as his counterpart, representing his people in this historic alliance. That's good, Liam said. Any word on when the first official diplomatic mission will launch? Next month, if all goes well. A small delegation from Earth will visit the Lyran homeworld. Dr. Parker smiled. They've asked me to lead it. Liam raised his eyebrows. Are you going to do it? I'm considering it. It would be the journey of a lifetime. He looked at his son thoughtfully. They've allowed for a few non-governmental representatives as well. People with useful skills or knowledge. Like cybersecurity specialists? Liam asked with a knowing smile. Meg has already accepted a position on the team, Dr. Parker confirmed. Her skills proved invaluable during the crisis. The Lyrans were particularly impressed with her ability to bypass their security systems. She'll be thrilled. She's been talking about nothing else since they first approached her. Liam took a sip of his lemonade. What about Agent Holt? How's she adjusting to the new reality? Dr. Parker chuckled. Better than you might expect. She's been appointed as security chief for the diplomatic mission. She's still suspicious of the Lyrans, but she's professional enough to do her job properly. And Dr. West, leading the scientific research team. Her expertise with the drive technology is second only to Zoran's and mine. Dr. Parker paused, studying his son's face. You seem distracted today. Everything okay? Liam shrugged. Just thinking about how much has changed. A month ago, I was just a college graduate with no clear plans. Now, he gestured vaguely at the sky, where the first stars were becoming visible. Now you're someone who helped save 2 worlds, his father finished for him. That's quite a change. I guess so. Liam hesitated, then asked the question that had been on his mind. Have you heard from Alara? Dr. Parker smiled knowingly. As a matter of fact, I have. She's been on her homeworld for the past 2 weeks, briefing their leaders and preparing for the diplomatic mission. She asked about you? Liam tried to sound casual. What did she say? She wanted to know if you were doing well and if you'd given any thought to her offer. The offer had come just before Alara had departed for her homeworld. She had asked if Liam would consider joining the cultural exchange program being established between Earth and Lyra. His knowledge of both worlds, she had said, would make him an ideal candidate. I've been thinking about it, Liam admitted. It's a big decision. It is, his father agreed. But opportunities like this don't come along often. Their conversation was interrupted by a soft musical tone, the distinctive sound of Lyran communication technology. Dr. Parker pulled a small device from his pocket, similar to the ones Alara had carried. The surface glowed with shifting patterns of light. Speaking of opportunities, he said, reading the message, it seems we have visitors. Liam followed his father's gaze upward. At first he saw nothing but the darkening sky and stars. Then a subtle distortion in the air caught his attention, the telltale sign of a cloaked Lyran ship. The distortion grew more pronounced as the ship descended toward the large field behind their house. The cloaking field dissolved, revealing a vessel larger than Alara's scout ship but smaller than the Stormbreaker. Its hull gleamed with a soft blue light, the pattern shifting in gentle waves. Were you expecting someone? Liam asked, his heart beating faster. Not officially, Dr. Parker replied with a smile, but unofficially. Let's just say I'm not surprised. They walked across the lawn toward the field. The ship settled gently onto the grass, barely disturbing the surrounding vegetation. A section of the hull shimmered and disappeared, creating an entrance. Zoran emerged first, his tall figure unmistakable even in the twilight. He wore formal attire by Lyran standards, a close-fitting suit with intricate glowing patterns that matched those on his skin. Behind him came Alara, dressed similarly but with patterns that pulsed with a brighter, more energetic light. Nathan, Liam. Zoran greeted them with a slight bow. I hope we're not intruding. Not at all, Dr. Parker replied warmly. You're always welcome here. Liam barely heard the exchange. His attention was fixed on Alara, who was looking at him with those remarkable purple eyes. Her skin seemed to glow more intensely as their gazes met. We bring news, Zoran continued. The Council of Elders has officially approved the diplomatic mission. We came to deliver the formal invitation personally. Dr. Parker accepted a small crystal tablet that Zoran offered him. This is a great honor. Thank you. While their fathers discussed the details of the upcoming mission, Alara moved to stand beside Liam. Hello, she said softly. It's good to see you again. You too, he replied, suddenly feeling awkward. How was your trip home? Strange, she admitted. After everything that happened here, my world seemed different somehow. Or perhaps I'm the one who changed. They walked a short distance away from their fathers, toward the edge of the field where wildflowers grew in abundance. Your father said you asked about me, Liam said. Alara smiled. I did. I wanted to know if you'd considered joining the exchange program. I have been thinking about it. A lot, actually. Liam picked one of the wildflowers and twirled it between his fingers. It's a big step. It is, she agreed. My people have never had such close contact with humans before. There are many who are nervous about it, just as there are many on your world who fear us. But you're not afraid? Her skin pattern shifted to a gentle, calming blue. I was at first. But then I met you and Meg, and I saw how quickly you accepted me, despite how different I am. You're not that different, Liam said. Not where it matters. They stood in comfortable silence for a moment, watching as the last colors of sunset faded from the sky. More stars became visible, distant suns that Liam now knew might harbor life and civilizations as complex as his own. If I joined the program, he finally said, would I get to see your world? Yes. You would spend time on Lyra, learning our ways just as some of my people would come here to learn yours. Alara hesitated, then added, I would be your guide if you wished. Liam smiled. I'd like that. From the ship, a soft chime sounded, some kind of signal that Liam didn't understand. We must prepare to leave soon, Alara explained. We have other officials to visit before returning to Lyra. When will you be back? Liam asked, trying not to sound too eager. For the diplomatic mission next month, but... She paused, her skin patterns shifting to a pattern he hadn't seen before. I could return sooner if you wanted me to. Liam felt a warmth spreading through him that had nothing to do with the summer evening. I'd like that too. There's something I wanted to show you before I go. Alara reached into a small pouch at her waist and removed what looked like a smooth crystal sphere about the size of a golf ball. This is for you. Liam took it carefully. The crystal was cool to the touch and seemed to have a faint glow at its center. What is it? A memory crystal. It's how my people record important moments. She touched the crystal lightly, and suddenly the air above it filled with tiny points of light. A miniature star map. These are the stars between our worlds. If you touch the crystal and think of me, I'll know. Like a cosmic text message? Liam asked with a smile. Alara laughed, the sound like wind chimes in a gentle breeze. Something like that. A connection. Across the stars. Their moment was interrupted by Zoran calling Alara's name. It was time for them to leave. I should go, she said reluctantly. Wait. Liam reached out and took her hand. The now familiar tingling warmth spread through his fingers. I've made my decision. Tell the exchange program coordinators that I accept their offer. Alara's skin lit up with joy, the patterns dancing across her surface. You won't regret it, Liam, I promise. Impulsively, Liam leaned forward and kissed her cheek. Her skin was warm and smooth against his lips, and the tingling sensation intensified for a moment. Something to remember me by, he said softly. Alara touched the spot where he had kissed her, her eyes wide with surprise and delight. A human custom I think I could grow to like. They walked back to where their fathers were concluding their conversation. Dr. Parker noticed the crystal in Liam's hand and the lingering touch between his son and Alara, but said nothing. Time to depart, Zoran announced. Thank you for your hospitality, Nathan. Safe journey, Dr. Parker replied. We'll see you again soon.